How you doing, YouTube? It's your boy Tony Dubz here. Just chilling, hanging out at home. I'm on Periscope now, so look me up on there. Tony Dubz, Dubz. Tony Dubz. If you follow me on Twitter, it's probably easier to find me on there that way. I'm still new to it. I've done two periscopes. Well, I don't know. I'm new to it. So what's the technical word for it? Broadcasts today. So yeah, I got that going on now. This is just a vlog. I'm just gonna talk because I need to start doing more videos. I say this like every time I do a new video. Like, I'm going to start doing videos every week, several times a week. And, Strip Club 101 episode 2 is still coming. I wasn't satisfied with the first run I did on it. I'm going to redo the script and reshoot it. So, look forward to that sometime within the next 15 years. Just started a new podcast, which actually I think I'm going to attempt the next time we do it. I think I'm going to attempt to broadcast it live on YouTube. I don't know if my internet connection is quite good enough to do the streaming thing. I would assume it would be because I can do Periscope because I use Verizon as my internet provider, which is decent. It's good for watching movies and stuff, but the upload is kind of low. So I don't know how it's going to work out. I might just pre-record it and upload it later. So that's that. I still don't have a name for the podcast yet. It's me and my good friend Cody. So yeah, we're still tossing names around. I don't really want to call it Don't Get It Twisted, although I am still going to do the Don't Get It Twisted podcast. We're going to get back to that eventually. Right now, it's just dealing with personal issues in my own life, trying to get my shit together, because I think I'm still going to be doing this. Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky next month is one of the biggest horror conventions in this region, maybe even in the U.S., I don't know. But I'm going to be a MC. I'm going to be hosting some panels from what I understand. I'm going to be walking around, talking on a microphone while the convention is going on. Again, I don't know for sure. They haven't given me all the details, but so far I think that's the gist of it. I'm not going to be the main guy, so I don't know. Of course, the whole shit runs downhill. So we'll see what kind of jobs they have for me to do at Scarefest 2015. But I'm looking forward to it, whether I'm, hosted the panel for the extras in Night of the Living Dead, which I don't think that's even going on, but I'm just trying to give an example of something that's not actually going to be there, so that if I did give us something, an example of something, and did end up hosting that panel, they'd be like, didn't we see you dogging this shit? No, I wouldn't do that. Even if it was the extras from the Night of the Living Dead, it would still be an honor, and it would still be awesome to do and be a great experience. And I hope I can get some videos. They haven't given me the definitive word on whether or not I'll be able to do some videos for YouTube, but I might be able to sneak some stuff in. So yeah, Cody and myself are doing this new podcast. Hopefully by the time we do the next one, and hopefully it will be up on YouTube, then we'll have a name for it. And let's see what else. New Nightmare on Elm Street is coming out sometime soon. Well, it was just announced. They're still working on the script. So within the next 2 years, probably, I would guess 2017. It's going to be a complete reboot. Apparently, they're going to forget that one that happened in 2010 with Jackie Earl Haley, I guess. I didn't hate that one. It was could have been better. I remember because at the time when that was being put together, when the rumors were coming out about the scripts were leaking and people were talking about it a lot before it came out. I was a member on the NightmareOnElmStreet.com forums and had a lot of discussions there. And I got the script from there, and the original script was really nothing. There were similar parts to what the movie ended up being, but they cut a lot of stuff out, and they added a lot of. There was a lot of rewrites. You could tell there were some rewrites. And then when the movie came out, there were certain things that were in the trailer and in the script that were reflected in the trailer that just didn't make the movie, and there were scenes that I was looking forward to. There were scenes that I thought would actually make the movie better. After I saw the movie, I was like, man, they should have had the whole scene of Nancy, I think it was Nancy, going into Freddy's lair or whatever in the dream world, and Freddy making the glove and all these types of things. And that was one thing that would have been paying homage to the original. And my next point on that is they kind of overdid it on the homage a little bit with the Nancy in the bathtub and the horrible CGI Freddy coming out of the bedroom wall behind her. That was just, why bother? The death scene of her friend Chris and the bloody body in the hallway. You know, and the pacing was really weird in that movie. Again, I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was the concept of it I really liked. This idea that maybe the kids lied about Freddy being this child molester and this child murderer. For whatever reason, they lied about it, and Freddy was getting revenge in their dreams. And of course, spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie, you know, probably don't even need to bother at this point. But spoilers, they end up finding out that he really did do it. They didn't lie about it. He actually did do these horrible things, and he's mad because they told on him. And he died because of it. So that's the basic gist of the 2002 film. And like I said, there was a whole bunch of stuff cut out, and it's like, from what I remember, if that stuff would have been in there, like, I always thought they were going to release a director's cut or something, because there was so much stuff just missing. And I felt that stuff made it a better movie, at least on paper, at least in my head, and how I pieced it together with the scenes that were in the trailers. Yeah, I just think it felt kind of rushed. Like, the pacing felt like they were just trying to get to each thing as quick as possible, to each set piece, each jump scare. Another thing, stop with the fucking jump scares, alright? I mean, it's okay a couple times, but if your whole movie relies on it to be scary, to be a scary movie, just rely on the jump scares, then it's not a scary movie. It's a douchebag movie. It's that friend that always tries to scare you. Like, at a certain point, you stop being scared. Like, I had a friend this one time who, it never failed. Like, if you had gone to the bathroom and you came back from the bathroom, 9 times out of 10 he would be hiding somewhere so he could jump out and bah, you know. And the first 4 times you're like, oh shit, dude, but then after that you're like, dude, I'm expecting it now. Like, it's not scary anymore. So yeah, but I was sitting here last night, and I was actually going to do a whole YouTube video on suggestions for just how to make a better Nightmare on Elm Street movie, because I'm a huge fan of the franchise. My mother introduced me to those films when I was very, very young. Maybe not the best judgment call on her part, but they never gave me nightmares. But some things could be said about my personality these days that could be attributed to that. So I started writing out just some bullet points on what I thought would make a better Freddy movie than what we've had recently. Because, I mean, let's face it, even the last few Freddy movies, except for New Nightmare, were kind of shit. Freddy's Dead especially had some great ideas, poor execution. Freddy vs. Jason, I love. I think that movie is awesome for what it is. Not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but it's fun. I still watch it every once in a while. Maybe like once a year, I'll put it in. It's good. It's everything you expect out of a showdown between Freddy and Jason, and the whole not being a definitive winner, and stuff like that. I think is a good move. I may still do the but anyways, I started out with the outline, and next thing I knew, or I started out with the bullet points, and next thing I knew, I had spent like 5 hours writing an outline for this Freddy Krueger movie that's probably never going to happen. Like the one that I have in my head is probably not going to happen. So I'm thinking about still making a video and just kind of, once I get the outline, exactly how I like it. Because I'm writing it in essay, short story form. So I figure why not just make a video, put a little production into it, and just tell you guys the story, my Freddy Krueger story, put some sound effects and stuff like that in it. So, again, work ethic be damned. I'm going to try to get that done soon. But here are some of the things I was thinking, no child molestation. We didn't need that in the last one. It was always kind of hinted at. It was kind of like a subtext in the original Nightmare films, like he was a child murderer, but it was always kind of insinuated that he did a little bit more than that with them. But this recent reboot in 2010 just kind of really just focused on that. So, and I think Freddy needs to be working on his victims need to be like in the 13 to 17-year-old range. Of course, you would get actors, 18 or close to it to play these people. But I mean, there's no shortage of actors in Hollywood these days that are of age, but look like they're younger. So that can be done. That was another problem with the 2010 version, is you had these high school kids, these high school kids, they were all like 30 years old. The dude that kills himself at the very beginning of the movie is supposed to be a high school senior, and he looks like he's 35. So yeah, that needs to be fixed. Freddy needs to be killing and torturing teens, because that's what the original story was built on. Well, I mean, the original story is built on much younger kids, but I don't think anybody really wants to see an 8-year-old get fucking slashed in a movie. I mean, I kind of do, but the general public may not, and I just don't really like kids. So, so I think it should be an origin story. I'm kind of tired of the origins when it comes to superhero movies and stuff like that, but I think Freddy deserves a solid origin story movie. Even if it's a completely new rebooted Freddy, I think it's something that's needed to happen for a while. They've included flashbacks and other things in the past Freddy movies that you could probably piece together to make a decent Freddy origin story, like a fan edit type thing. But I think we need one a film that's specifically geared towards that. So again, cast only younger actors that can play the role of high school kids. Character development. That was the biggest problem with the 2010 series, or the 2010 film, movie, whatever. There was no character development. It was just like, here's our characters. They're in high school. Freddy fucks them up. The end. Like there's, it was a thing that like 80s horror movies, even the worst ones, even the cheesiest slasher movies with the lowest budgets, at least had some sort of character development for the most part. Most of them did anyways. Like you actually got invested in the characters. You wanted to see the hero or the heroine win. You wanted to see them be successful. And in this most recent Freddy movie from 2010, even though I liked the movie, I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. The main character could have got killed, and I'm like, all right, cool, Freddy wins. So, Yeah, character development is very important, which means you got to keep the main character count low. You can't have 5 main characters. You can have shit. You could have 10 characters. Like the body count could still be high, but you focus on like 2 or 3 specific teens that are going to be the heroes of the movie, and maybe only one of those actually gets out alive, but you actually develop at least 3 of the teen characters to give us something to be invested in. Freddy needs to be witty, but unlikable at the same time. Like the Freddy of, kind of the Freddy of the first Nightmare, but more like the Freddy of Part 3, the Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors, right? Dream Masters. Dream Warriors, yeah. Sorry, I'm really tired. It's really late. But yeah, like he can be witty, he can say funny stuff, but you're not supposed to like Freddy. I mean, the old Robert Englund Freddy, which is awesome, like the best Freddy ever. Nobody will ever be better than him, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But he can't be like, you can't be cheering Freddy on. Like that defeats the whole purpose. Like, yeah, he can be fun to listen to and fun to watch how he interacts with the other characters, but at the end of the day, you want him to lose. That should be your feelings about Freddy. Like I said earlier, no more paying homage to the old films. We're done with that. It doesn't make sense to do it. Just make it its own thing. It's a reboot. Fucking reboot it. Don't even consider that the old ones exist. And I know people will complain like, oh, you didn't show enough respect to the source material. You didn't show enough respect to the old ones. Well, fuck them, because you still have those. This is a new thing, and it needs to be a new thing. I think that an unknown actor should be cast as Freddy. But at the same time, I would kind of like to see like Bryan Cranston play the role. But I think it'd be best to hold auditions and get somebody that not necessarily looks like Robert Englund, but somebody that can pull off that same style. Not a complete mimicry, he needs to make it his own, but part of the reason like that Robert Englund worked was his look. A big reason the 2010 Jackie Earle Haley didn't work was the look. It was the same thing. Like, they nailed it with the original Freddy. He's a dream demon. He exists in this dream world. He doesn't have to look realistic. I think that's something they forgot. So I think they should really get somebody who can pull off Freddy the way Freddy should be, but at the same time make it their own. And it should be an unknown actor so that they can really get lost in the role, and so can we. I don't want to see Freddy brought into the real world anymore. Like the whole pulling him out of a dream thing. I understand why they do that, because it's kind of like you write your writers write themselves into a corner. Like, okay, well, if he controls this dream world, how do we take him down? Well, obviously you're gonna have to pull him into the real world so that he can be hurt. Well, I mean, it's been done a million times, and it doesn't make sense. I mean, again, I know it's a movie, and within that movie's universe, sure, it could make sense, but I just think it's been overdone. I think we could figure out another way. Hey, and maybe Freddy does win. Maybe there's no way to beat him in the dream world, and maybe in part 2, that's when they figure out we got to pull him out. Well, I mean, even in the original Nightmare and the 2010 remake, they didn't bring him into the real world. Well, I guess they kind of did. She turned her back on him, though, and he disappeared. So they were never really in the real world. They thought they were. But at the end, it turns out, of course, it's all been a dream. Even up till that point, I guess is what that means. Or that, whatever. But either way, at the end of the movie, it turns out that Freddy is still alive and kicking. So again, no more Freddy in the real world. I need some water. Doing this vlogging. Shit, I'm almost 20 minutes. If you're still watching at this point, You're a fucking trooper. We need a new term for, like, you have, they have too long didn't read, TLDR. So it would be TLDW. Too long didn't watch, you fat motherfucker. Summarize. I think 80% of the movie should be spent in the dream world. Maybe have a comatose patient to make this possible. I thought maybe there could be one of the main characters, maybe even the hero. Maybe this is how they're able to stop Freddy. This person's in a coma, so they have more time to deal with Freddy in the dream world, and Freddy's dealing with all these other teens at the same time. So, again, like I said, 80% of the movie in the dream world. Basically, like, because you could use all kinds of cool CGI effects, like just really cool stuff. Like it could just be this big fantasy movie, like this big fantasy horror movie, and as much time as you can spend in that world as possible to explore all the possibilities. Like maybe more than one comatose patient. Maybe all these patients are stuck. Maybe Freddy has them held prisoner and he runs them through this gauntlet of crazy shit. You know, turning into a fucking action horror, you know? And I think it really needs to be explained how Freddy is able to come back from the dead and live in the dreams, to live in the dream world, and, what's the word I'm looking for? Infiltrate, destroy, and not rebuild the dreams of the teens in Springwood, Ohio, and on Elm Street. It needs to be explained. They did in Freddy's Dead with the Dream Demons, which was corny as fuck. Everybody, like on the Nightmare on Elm Street forums, always like, oh, the Dream Demons. They need to bring those back. They need to explain the Dream Demons. Fuck no. The Dream Demons are corny as fuck, and they need to forget about them. Done. Out of here. No more Dream Demons. Freddy himself could be a dream demon, which I do explain in this long-ass fucking outline I wrote, which is basically, my idea was Freddy as a human was into like black magic and witchcraft, maybe even have some kind of religious tie to it. Satanic maybe, because I guess within this movie's universe, satanic could actually mean satanic, you know. But whatever the case, like maybe he originally was, you know, doing this ritual that would give him immortality or something, and he had to kill some kids, had to sacrifice some kids to make it happen, and the last step of the ritual was him killing himself, which would make him a transcendent being, but instead the parents of the town torch his ass so he can only exist within one realm at a time, instead of multiple realms, and wouldn't be able to move freely. Like, it just fucks up the whole ritual, so he ends up being confined to this dream world, or something, or, you know, he goes to hell and figures some shit out. But whatever the case, I think it needs to be explained a little better than it has been in the past. And again, like I said, fuck the jump scares. We don't need them. And then there's like 7 pages of an outline here, which I'm not going to read to you right now. Anyways, the writer that's attached to this is David Leslie Johnson. David Johnson, I guess we'll just call him. He's doing rewrites right now on The Conjuring 2. He's either done them, or he's going to do them, or he's doing them currently. Conjuring 1 was alright. I dug it. It was cool. I don't know how I feel about Conjuring 2, because I don't know anything about it. He wrote Orphan in 2009, which I've also not seen. Red Riding Hood 2011, again, not seen. However, he did write 2 episodes of The Walking Dead, season 2 episode 5 and season 2 episode 9. Season 2, episode 5 was the one where Daryl has the hallucination of Merle. So it's the one where he's fighting with Merle while he's looking for what was the girl's name? Lily. He's looking for Carol's daughter, and he has like this hallucination episode where he has a fight with Merle, and uh, on his way back, he ends up getting shot by Andrea, I think. He passes out down by a river for a while. The second episode was season 2, episode 9. It's the one where they're in the bar with Herschel. And they had the shootout with that Tony guy and his buddy and all their friends. And Lori goes off looking for him, and Shane goes after Lori. So those were 2 decent episodes. Not the best, but they were well written, well directed. He didn't direct them, but you know. So yeah, I have faith that this guy could do a good job. Also, Wrath of the Titans, I've not seen. 2012. Mob City, he's done 2 episodes on that. I have seen some of Mob City, but I don't know if I've seen those specific episodes. It's not one of my favorite shows. But, I mean, yeah, he's done some stuff that's got some decent ratings. As far as the Walking Dead stuff goes, I didn't catch what the Rotten Tomatoes said about the other ones. But the IMDb rating for the Walking Dead episodes were decent enough. And like I said, I enjoyed those episodes, so maybe he can do a good job. I just would hate to see somebody else fall into that rut like the last one did, of just really trying to redo what's already been done with Freddy. I think it's time. The kids that are kids today, that are my age when Freddy Krueger was coming out, or even just a little bit older, back in the 80s and the early 90s, you know, those kids today that are that age that I was back then, they don't really have a Freddy. You know, not a good one anyways. They have that 2010 version, but that didn't start a franchise. You know, that was it did well at the box office, but everybody hated it, so they didn't do anything else with it. So they need to just completely reinvent the story. I know a lot of people out there hate remakes, but who was it that said it? Robert Englund. Fuck, yeah. Robert Englund himself made an excellent statement. He's made it a few times. There's videos on YouTube of him talking about it. Just look at Robert Englund and remakes, and you'll find one of the videos, I'm sure. But he talks about how 90% of the movies that Hollywood's ever made have been remakes, and that's the truth. You know, the movies that our grandparents watched in the 50s and the 40s and whatnot were remakes of silent films that came out in the early 1900s. A lot of the movies we saw, my generation saw as kids and adults, are remakes of stuff that happened way before then. You know, a new generation comes along, and if there's a story that can be told that can be made relatable to that generation, you know, why not go for it? Because at the end of the day, you still have the old versions. You know, we still have that old Nightmare series. And again, like I said, let's be honest, 90% of that old Nightmare on Elm Street series is kind of shit. You know, it's fun. I love watching those movies. I'll still watch every single one of them and enjoy it. Part 3 is still my favorite one. Number 1 comes in a close second. I'd say number 2 is probably at the very bottom of the list. You know, 5 is probably right there next to number 2 at the bottom of the list. Oh, no. Freddy's Dead is definitely the worst. I would even say Freddy's Dead is worse than the 2010 remake. And that's, again, I didn't hate the 2000. I don't even hate Freddy's Dead. I hate the third act. The Dream Demons and the 3D and the way they kill Freddy. It's just so corny. And, like, it was a horrible way to end. And that's why I'm glad New Nightmare came along, and that's probably my third favorite Freddy movie. So yeah, Freddy Krueger's coming back, and I hope they don't fuck it up. What else? There was a 12-year-old, he was a 19-year-old shot by police. Where was this? I think in Ohio, maybe. Zachary Hammond, 19 years old, shot twice during a marijuana sting. I heard this story earlier. I should have. This is just a vlog, so I don't really need to be. Accuracy's nice, but like I said, I'm tired and my memory's fucked up. You hear my neighbors up there, the fucking assholes. But anyways, he was shot. From what I understand, from what I remember from the article and the YouTube video I watched earlier, a cop was doing a marijuana sting at some fucking Hardee's or a Carl's Jr. or something, and he thought that this kid was part of it or something, or he thought he looked up to, like he thought he looked suspicious or something, and then claimed that the kid was trying to run him over with his car, but he was in a drive-through, and if most drive-thrus you really don't have much room, the cop probably could have jumped out of the way and shot the tire of the car or something. But long story short, the cop shot this 19-year-old, and I gotta say, like, all the pictures they're showing of this kid, he looks 12. That looks like a 12-year-old to me. Like, if you go on YouTube and look up Zachary Hammond, most likely, and even on the internet, most likely the headline picture is gonna this kid with braces and a buzz cut. Literally, that does not look like a 19-year-old to me. So, I mean, I hate to be that white guy that's like, see, the white people are getting it too, you know? But they're kind of doing the same shit that they do when these black guys get shot down by police. Like, they pick the most innocent-looking picture they can find. I mean, he may be 19 in this picture. If he is, he's just really young looking. But he looks 12 to me. And he's all smiley and is showing his braces. And listen, it's unfortunate. It's sad as hell that he got shot. It's so stupid. And again, they didn't find any. They found like a tiny, tiny bit of marijuana on the girl that was riding with him. But I gotta wonder, like, what does he look like now? I mean, I'm too lazy to look up any recent photos. I mean, again, that might be a recent photo that they're showing, but I don't believe so. So is he a troublemaker? Does he look like a troublemaker now? Is that why they're showing us this innocent-looking picture? And again, I'm not on the cop's side. If you listen to the most recent podcast up on the Don't Get It Twisted channel on Stitcher and iTunes, there's the first one with my friend Cody. We talk about our issues with the cops. I'm a supporter of the good cops. You know, I think there are a few decent cops out there on every force. But if you watch Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks and Joe Rogan both did interviews recently with an ex-Baltimore cop. I had his name on the tip of my tongue just then and it left. But look, you can find it. It was recent. I just seen it on the Young Turks the other day. And Joe Rogan did the interview like last week or 2 weeks ago. And he pretty much lays it out on the line about how the cops are trained and how the stuff works, how they target certain people because they feel like it'll be an easier arrest. And honestly, it's usually not. You know, stop and frisk proved that. So again, I'm not trying to justify. I'm not trying to say, you know, the cop looked at him and he looked like a thug or anything. I'm just saying, what does this kid look like now? Why are they showing us this picture that's obviously not recent? That's not a 19-year-old in that picture, and I wish I could show it to you right now. I could if I had gotten this shit together. It just happens to be on... I got my YouTube up on my PlayStation right now, and the video that's playing happens to be about that kid. And I'm seeing his young-looking face. And I'm like, man, that just does not look like a 19-year-old to me. And surely he had a Facebook. Surely he had more recent pictures than that. But was he fucking holding up guns or smoking a joint or holding up a bunch of money looking, looking all gangster or something? I don't know. So maybe it might be something to look into. Zachary Hammond, 19, shot twice during a marijuana sting at a Hardee's. What the fuck? I mean, it's like every day lately something like this is coming out. It's almost like it doesn't even faze you anymore. I mean, yeah, you feel bad, you feel sorry for the kid and his family, but like another unarmed person got shot by the cops. What else is happening? You know, it's almost like it's a slow news day when that shit happens now, and it's sad. But yeah, I guess I should stop now because it's 35 minutes, and I think that's plenty of time for a vlog. Again, if you made it this far, thanks. I mean, I guess this is kind of more like a podcast at this point. I've been here flapping my gums. Check me out on Periscope. Tony Dubz, same thing. You can see it. Shit, I always forget. I need to fix my camera back to where I can just do it right. Tony Dubz on the Twitter, same name on Periscope, Instagram, Vine. I haven't used Vine in a while. I need to get back on it, but I kind of like the Periscope thing. I wish I could actually share. I mean, I'm sure there's a way. I mean, I know when you're actually recording the Periscope, you can have it tweeted out for you and stuff, but I was trying to find like a share button because I forgot to do it on the second one that I did. So after the fact, I was trying to find a share button to share the video I had just made, and I couldn't find one. I can find on other people's videos, but not on my own. So I need to get more familiar with the app. But if you have Periscope on your phone, check me out. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff with it, probably more than I will on YouTube. Again, I want to do more YouTube stuff. It's just motivation. You know, it involves because I don't want to, like, I like doing these vlogs like this. I've done a couple haven't even been uploaded yet. They may never be uploaded because I get pretty personal in them, and although I'm not really afraid to get personal, I named some names and I shouldn't have done that, so I'm gonna figure out a way to bleep them out. I'm gonna have to go back in on the editor and fix that shit. So again, I rambled for 36 minutes. Check me out on social media. Check out the new podcast. It can be found at the same place as the other one for now. I'm going to try to get an actual a new site together for it. Dubcast Digital. That's going to be the new banner for all of my podcast stuff. I have a Dubcast channel, which isn't being used a whole lot right now, but in the future it will be. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'm too fucking tired to come up with a sign-off line, so, you know, don't fuck your mother. Or do, if you're into that sort of thing.